here he is, perfectly gliding to the mark. Second at Long Beach, second at Cleveland. Not a winner this year. Only 3 remaining IndyCar races in his career. He wants desperately to get to the victory podium today. Little problem getting the fuel line out, but they get it just under 12 seconds. A nice stop for the Newman Haas team, and Nigel Mansell's back on course.
But Adrian Fernandez picked up the lead and then is apparently out of fuel, would be my guess. He's come to a stop. Look at the anger. Jan Beekes.
Yes, we do have a report that is the case. Adrian Fernandez is out of fuel. They tried to push it too far. We were waiting for his pit stop. The report, Paul, out of fuel.
Hard stopping for Adrian Fernandez. He will be on the radio as he sits there with Rick Gallis in total disbelief. Having just taken the lead, it all comes to nothing.
And what that will do is turn the lead over to none other than Al Unser Jr. Just exactly what he needs in his fight for the championship. He can't wrap it up this weekend, but he can get very, very close. Well, we have a new race record for number of yellows at Vancouver. We're on our 5th now, 78 laps complete, and there's the order. With Fernandez falling out at the edge of the race course, Al Unser Jr. assumes the lead of the race. Let's go to Gary Gerould.
Well, Roger Penske immediately went into a huddle with his engineers and his crew down here on the pit wall when that full course yellow came out, because they knew it was going to be very close as to whether or not Junior could make the distance on the fuel that is in the tank at the moment. Now, every lap of yellow is a huge advantage, because instead of getting, say, 1.6 to 1.8 per gallon under yellow, you may be getting as much as 6 miles per gallon. So every little bit that they can eke out means that they're that much closer to winning still again. And what a weekend it would be for this team if Junior's able to pull it off, considering the fact how sick he's been and the fact he wasn't even in the car on Friday.
And we suggested that Michael Andretti needed to be a good 8 or 9 points ahead of where he started this race in the overall scheme of things. He currently runs in 9th. It doesn't look like he's going to get there, and that seems like it is going to narrow the battle for the top 3 positions in the PPG Championship down to the 3 Penske cars. You know, the engine management system does so much more now than just run the engine. Ford is using a 9th butterfly in the engine to help drive the driver with other concerns. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Well, Paul, the name that they use for that is ABC, which stands for automatic boost control. You talked about that 9th butterfly. There's 8 butterflies that work each individual cylinder, then the 9th one that helps trim it. What they do now with this ABC is they can run just a little bit of higher boost and then use the automatic boost control with that 9th butterfly just to trim it right to 45 inches. But it opens up a new avenue if you use the whole engine management system. They come up now with what's called the quick shift. A driver normally does not hold his foot on the floor. You have to just lift your foot slightly to go up through the gears. But now with this engine management system, the ABC, it gives you a quick break in the torque, so you do not have to lift your foot off the floor. It senses the driver trying to shift. So it's not an automatic gearbox, but it senses the driver pulling back, gives it just a blip in the engine, and it supposedly makes shifts now 1/10 of a second instead of 2.
And of course, what it also does, you can now pre-program your speed in the pit lane using this system. You know why you haven't seen many drivers break the speed limit? You can actually pre-program this system that no matter what the driver does with his throttle, the sensor, now it's not a speed wheel sensor because that can be termed as traction control, but the engine knows what gear it's in. It will not allow the car to go more than 80 miles an hour if the driver has the button on the steering wheel pressed.
Al Unser Jr., the defending champion here, is now in front. He assumed the lead when Adrian Fernandez developed his problems. Another question as the season goes along, where are different drivers going? Gary, you got a guy we'd like to know where he's going.
Here's a guy that'd definitely like to know where he's going to be next year. Maybe he already knows. Maybe he'll share some information with us. Danny Sullivan behind the sunglasses, as always, missing the IndyCar season this year, but I know you've got some strong possibilities for 1995.
Well, I've got some very good, strong possibilities, but I can't really discuss anything now. We're pretty close on a couple of things, but I don't want to jinx anything by talking about it.
Are we talking about a full season of IndyCar racing?
Full time in 1995 and 1996.
How tough has it been this year having to set out and particularly watching the success of your former employers, the Penske team?
Well, it's difficult when anytime you're on the sideline. Of course, I've been busy racing for Porsche and Alfa and some stock car stuff, but it's just not the same having a full-time regular drive. And then we've been down in the hairpin the whole time today, and it's been pretty exciting down there, and you really want to get back out and go.
Do we expect a decision before the end of the season at Laguna Seca?
Oh, sure. We'll be announced hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, we anxiously await. Danny Sullivan will be back next year, Paul.
That cinches it. There's got to be a guy down there that writes pat answers for all these drivers, because that's answer number 3 on what are you doing next year. I can't talk about it, but it's going to be really exciting. So the PPG pace car, Johnny Rutherford, former IndyCar champion at the wheel, 3-time 500 winner, and 2-time Indy winner Al Unser Jr. just behind him, leading the field around, followed by Fittipaldi, Bobby Rahal, Robbie Gordon back up into 4th now, and then Paul Tracy.
And we may be about to see a war break out, because all these cars in a battle for position are virtually all in a line here. So the last 20 or so laps could be even more exciting than what we've seen so far this afternoon.
Well, you have to think, too, of the pressure within the Penske team now. With Michael not doing very well, they can begin quite a battle for the championship on their own. Unser Jr. takes the green flag with a good jump. Robbie Gordon coming alongside Bobby Rahal. Gordon gets Rahal at the line, picks up 3rd place. Rahal back to 4th.
And that was bravery and horsepower exhibited there by Robbie Gordon. Here we go.
Eddie Cheever and Mario battle to the outside. Paul Tracy gets scooted over to the inside. Wisely, he ducks around him.
Rahal's in trouble.
Just short of the course a little bit, waiting for traffic to come through. Different sound on that Honda engine. Brand new Honda this week. Honda as yet not announcing what team they will be with next year. They say they're doing a lot of waiting and listening.
So Rahal, who started the lap in 3rd place, lost the position to Gordon down to 4th. Now he's all the way been outside the top 10.
And keeping an eye on the track of Robbie Gordon. Now 2nd. Boy, take a look at that run.
Oh, there's a fight going on here. It's Ford horsepower versus Fittipaldi in the Ilmore. Mario's not in the fight, but he's not going to move aside.
So Mario battles with Fittipaldi. Tracy sitting just 1 car back behind Eddie Cheever in A.J. Foyt's car.
Mario's 1 lap down. He's in 12th place. So he's not in this fight for position, but he's not going to move over either.
Eddie Cheever, the 14 car, is 19. But feeling very racy, too, as he is now sandwiched between Fittipaldi and Tracy. This is that onboard from Bobby Rahal's camera. Perched right out on the nose. That's Robbie Gordon to the outside.
That was the bravery move we mentioned earlier. However, it was probably an advantage with the Ford horsepower. But Gordon now has clear sailing between himself and Nigel Mansell.
4.2 seconds behind Mansell. Jan Beekes?
We checked in with Carl Hogan on the Bobby Rahal situation. They said the smoke that you saw was from overcooking a corner and locking the brakes. They feel the power plant is okay, but obviously very discouraged about losing those positions.
Let me correct that. 4.2 seconds behind Unser Jr. Wonder what Sigmund Freud would do with that slip. Robbie Gordon, he's always spectacular. He has been doubly so today. Started on the pole, led early. Problems took him into the pits, well back into the field. Now he's back up in 2nd place, chasing little Al.
There's Mansell there. Al Jr. clear in the lead. There's Mansell there, still embroiled in the battle. He's running 5th, has to catch Tracy. It won't be easy.
Remember, Mario Andretti is not in this fight. He's a lap down, running in 12th place. Not in the fight, but very much a factor. So they string out for the moment at the front of the field. Unser Jr. in front. Fittipaldi and Tracy very much in a fight running to the end. We'll be back. Meet scenario now in the Molson Indy Vancouver as we begin into the closing laps. 86 laps complete, 102 laps of scheduled distance. Unser Jr., Robbie Gordon, Fittipaldi, and Paul Tracy, the top four in the field. It's been 27 laps since their last stop. Their presumption is that they will make it all the way to the finish. That's not necessarily everybody's presumption, and Derek, I would guess it will be rather close.
Well, it could be rather close. It's hard to know whether the Ilmor or the Ford engine is more fuel efficient in full race trim.
Oh.
Eddie Cheever sees Michael at the last second and just stops on his turn in, and Michael escapes.
Eddie Cheever runs 19th. He's been a factor. Look at the nose on Michael's car. He's played around with somebody. Michael runs in 6th.
Oh, Tracy finally finds a way past Emerson.
But Nigel Mansell is right there in 5th place. Now Mansell would be the one that would benefit if the cars ahead, all having stopped on the pits 28 laps ago, would not have enough fuel to make it to the end. Mansell's only 11 laps from his stop and can most certainly go to the end of the race. Let's go to Jan.
Paul, when you're talking about that fuel getting to the end of the race, we checked in with Derek Walker, who of course is the owner for Robbie Gordon. He says, we have plenty of fuel, so much so that we have him full rich right now, running just as fast as he can. Gary probably has more. Gary?
From the Penske camp with Al Unser Jr., they're getting a telemetry reading, of course, every lap. They're then relaying that to Jr. in the cockpit, and he's adjusting the mixture virtually every lap. We heard a number of 1.69 3 laps ago, but they just went to 1.78. That means they're excellent, but they still know it is going to be very, very, very close for Al Unser Jr. as to whether or not he'll have enough fuel.
And you see that change in the top 5 as Mansell and Michael Andretti both get around Fittipaldi.
You got a great picture too also of Michael, how a driver has to work so hard. He turns the steering wheel, takes his hand off, changes gear, and back onto the steering wheel again to fight it through those chicanes.
I tell you what, you really have to hand it to Eddie Cheever and A.J. Foyt's car. He's having a great run here, though he's a lap off the pace. He's staying with these leaders. Ford electronic telemetry here on board Michael. You will have noticed too that in the heads-up display here that boost is included. I guess we owe a big thanks to Chip Ganassi and the team for allowing that. Normally a team doesn't let the boost be part of the telemetry feed that we get. So thanks a lot for that one. That helps.
That's Mansell right ahead of him. Bang, crash over those curbs at the chicane.
Back at the front, Al Unser Jr., 8.5 seconds ahead of Robbie Gordon. Gordon on full fuel rich right now, so he can be as racy as he wants. We'll start tracking that interval for you. It stayed approximately the same the last couple of laps. In fact, if anything, perhaps has fallen off just a bit as they run through traffic.
Oh, you see the line Mansell took there, forced the issue under power as he went to the apex, missed his apex turn-in point, and suddenly goes way, way wide and high. That would have lost him precious time in this chase of Tracy.
Mansell charging on Tracy. Mario Andretti still a factor in this, sitting just ahead of Tracy. Gary Gerald.
Emerson Fittipaldi trying to nurse it. They think they've got enough fuel to get here, but it's a short shifting process. They won't confirm that he's short shifting. We understand he is. He's doing everything in his power to conserve the fuel. They said he made a mistake and he simply got past. We don't know if the fuel conservation has resulted in him getting past. That's the interesting question with time running out.
Well, the pass was made by 2 cars who are very definitely a little closer to their fuel stops and therefore are able to run a little richer. Al Unser Jr., 8 seconds out.
Speed gear.
Have his hand full and he